Protect yourself and your family from unexpected challenges. Consider accident-only income protection. Click the link in the description to find out more.
Boxing King Media in association with SaveMoreMoney.com. Joe McNally, Joe, pleasure to be joining you out here in Dublin. We was out in your gym last time, but now it's fight week. We're a day away from the fight. Gary Cully, we've seen the face-off got a bit steamy. The press conference had got quite steamy as well. I wasn't expecting that from both guys, were you?
Yeah, to be honest, it's for Gary, it's for a numerous fights now. It's been standard procedure. He's used to the bright lights and the cadamati that comes with it, the press conferences, the weigh-in. It's not his first rodeo on this stage, and young Reece Mould, he's an experienced professional. He's had a lot of fights, but a bleat, -1 on the small all shows, and it was adrenaline and nerves. It was obvious, it was expected, yeah, off the kid.
As a coach, are you now, could it affect your game plan? Because surely you must have a plan going into this fight, but when we see stuff like that at weigh-ins and press conferences, naturally the reaction from both fighters will be, I'm going to knock this guy out.
Yeah, no, Gary's an experienced man, and Reece's experience, it can be part of his ploy, as all fighters do. There's a lot of kidology. It won't adhere to what Gary's going to do tomorrow night and put on a fantastic performance. The main objective is to keep Gary cool and not rise to the crowd and listen to instructions and get the job done in good fashion.
Reece mentioned, about dealing with getting stopped in devastating fashion, then coming back, and he kind of talked about how that is mentally to deal with for a fighter, and he's obviously experienced that himself, which Gary obviously highlighted. Is that any concern for you going into this fight now that it's been mentioned, the mental side of it, because you've been a fighter yourself, and even though you've not experienced that yourself, but what do you think of that?
Yeah, I have experienced it. I've been knocked out, mate, in the amateurs.
Is that in the amateurs? All right.
Yeah, I've been knocked out in the amateurs. Well, stopped in the amateurs, and look, I'd be lying to say it never is a mental obstacle, but Gary's been with me for 3-4 months now, and I know it's not a super long time, but we've gone through, a lot of shit in camp, pre-camp. We've talked through everything, and he's been through the well and back to eradicate them demons that he could have had. I'm not saying he had them, he could have had, and he's been fantastic. He's been through hell and back in camp, to say the least, with big 1'5'4" guys. And as Reece has been there himself, he'll know what it feels like. He's been knocked out and stopped. Gary just got stopped on his feet, but we made a few fundamental mistakes against the Mexican kid, which we've eradicated in camp, and he's in a fantastic place mentally, physically, and he's here to put on a good performance. And only time will tell, really. Obviously, you can do everything you can, and he goes into tomorrow, performs, but it'll be my job that if there's a little bit of panic or set up, to keep him on the straight and narrow. And yeah, it's that simple, really.
In short, do you see this fight going the distance?
I think Gary stops him. Yeah, I think Gary stops him. Possibly quite late, but it could be early. It depends what Reece turns up. It could be, if he comes super aggressive, it could finish really early. If he's negative, he'll stop him late.
We'll move on to some other stuff. We spoke about your other fighters last time. I just want to touch on Shannon Courtenay. I know she's been waiting for a date for a long time. I don't know if anything is in the pipeline. From social media posts, she looks like she's pretty much on weight and just looking for a date. What is the latest on her?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Cole. She's been working away, young Shannon. She's been with me since mid-August now. We asked to be on this bill back in July when we first started speaking and, teamed up, but it wasn't available, and then we got proposed a few weeks out, there's a slot there, but we wasn't in camp to fight in the end of November. But yeah, hopefully she goes straight into a world title fight. That's the proposed plan of a management team and matchroom boxing. But she possibly could have a tick over in December. She's in camp for numerous weeks now. She's flying. Her weight's fantastic. She's fit, injury free. She's sparring really well. And I'm excited for the young woman to come back and reclaim the title. Yeah, exciting times for her.
Would you be looking to change her style? Because she spent a lot of time under Adam Booth, and she almost kind of fights in that style that you expect an Adam Booth fighter or somebody who trains in the Booth gym. What have you added stuff to her game, or what have you done for her as a coach? I'm just curious.
Yeah, as we spoke last time about styles and the daring and teaching thing, I'm never going to change the style. She's been a world champion before. When she come to me, obviously there's things that I weren't happy with and what she done and traits and mistakes and, polishing up and giving her, different looks and not changing her, but, correcting it, so to say, and, so subtle things, but that mean a lot, whether you're effective or you're not. And she's adapted and it's working really well. She's performing in the gym and she's only going to get better and better and better. And I truly believe she can pick up every title, take the next belt she gets, and go on and be the unified champion of the bantamweight division.
See how things turn out. I'm just curious, is there any chance, we've just seen Ebony Bridges, his opponent's pulled out, I know you said takeover fight, but is there any chance she could potentially be offered that? Is it too short notice to pull in for San Francisco?
What date's that for?
December, middle of December. It's I think it's 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I didn't know her opponent. That's news to me, but I think the middle of December would be a little bit too early. For Shannon now. If we do fight in the middle of December, it'll be sort of a catch-weight thing, mid-camp. But if her opponent's pulled out, why not do it the end of January, start of February? I'd take the fight with either Ebony or Nina any day of the week. A matter of fact, I'd take the multiple world title shot at Tina Torslin for Shannon. I'm not confident the way she's performing. But, the right time, the right preparation, which she's going through now, the kids will be ready, yeah.
And just moving on, I want to ask you about, I don't know if you saw the interview John Fury did yesterday. He basically suggested that he feels Tyson Fury's on the decline in the last 3 fights and he's not happy with the style that he's fighting. I've seen some counter arguments about the fact that Tyson's stopped, prior to Ngannou, he got 4 stoppage wins back to back, so that would suggest he was probably doing good. What do you make of that? Do you think he's declining in his style? Eddie Hearn said today that he feels he's slowing down, his reflexes aren't as good. Just want to get your opinion for your observations.
Oof, it's a difficult one. I stated last time, I think Tyson and his management team, they're very clever people. John Fury, I respect the man, but he does talk a lot and, he might have a better insight than anyone. Number one, it's Tyson's father. Number two, he's constantly in the gym with him. I don't think you'll really tell a hint decline off the Ngannou fight, or the Teixeira fight, or the White fight, because they're not that level to push him to his limit. Truly that, at this point in his career, he's done everything. He's a rich man. He's a world champion. He's the, say the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. There's an argument in who's the number one, because he beat Joshua. But does he need the fire in his belly? Has he had that the last few fights, against Dillian and Teixeira and Ngannou? He just might need that rocker up his arse to, the fear factor inside him, to put the extra work in the gym and, go out that. He might have just been seen in them, which these cannot beat me, not any day of the week. But to put that weight ethic in the gym, he just might need that fear factor. But only the people in his camp and know that, you know, and his coach Sugar Hill. But I know he works a lot around Andy Lee as well in the gym when he's got Joseph Parker, and they'll know. And if it isn't there and he's declining and he's going into a magnificent fight with Usyk, I'd like to think that they'd tell him.
Do you think there's a decline, or do you think it is the factor like you highlighted there, maybe not, he probably just didn't get up for the Ngannou fight?
Yeah, you know, you look at Tyson, he's been pro a long time now. And it's an old saying, you know, it's hard to get out of bed wearing silk pyjamas. He's earned a lot of money, doesn't he? I don't think he's on. I think he's in his prime. I think he needs the fear factor in him to put the work ethic in camp, because he works like a trooper anyway. You know, he's a proper Trojan, but I don't think he's over the hill. I just think he needs that fire in his belly to really get up for something, to see the best Tyson Fury, and I don't think his last XYZ amount of fights to give him that factor to do that, which is obviously replicated in a couple of his performances.
Good stuff. And last thing I want to speak to you about, Joe. I think last time when I spoke to you in your gym, it was a rumour then, Ben Davison has took over as Anthony Joshua's coach. I think the reasons Eddie Hearn's given is the fact that, the travelling time to Texas, and the fact that Derek James is busy with Ryan Garcia, and then acclimatisation to Saudi Arabia. I just want to get your opinion from a coach's perspective. As you can imagine, the amount of opinions and talk this has caused. How do you think Ben Davison might be dealing with that, and what do you think it's like as a coach? Because you've took on high profile fighters before from other trainers, and there's always like an opinion on it. Is it the right choice? Is it not? What's he going to do for this fighter? And Ben seems to be getting all them opinions about him now.
Yeah, you know, look, Ben's done a good job with Tyson. He's a fantastic coach, Ben Davison, and it's not like he's left Derek James. He's with another fantastic coach in Ben Davison. But you've got to ask the question, you know, he went shopping round, he went with Robert Garcia, he had him in a corner. Robert took a bit of flack off the Usyk fights and stuff, and then he went with Derek James, you know, preached that he was, you know, rebirth and doing, and Joshua's is a fantastic fighter. He seems to be going through, in my opinion, a lot mentally at the moment. But he was with Derek, and it was the best thing. He's working away, he's in America. I beg to differ then. You know, Derek's busy with Garcia, so we can't coach Joshua, and the back and forth from America. Well, you know, you wear tens and tens, if not hundreds of millions. Just move to America, for you can't buy a place there and do it out. So I'm not going to buy into that Derek's busy. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with them, but to be going into the fight against Otto Whalen, the good thing is Ben's familiar with him, with Tyson. You know, a change of opponents, just for this fight, and then I'll go back. It would have just been better if that was the choice, in my opinion, going with Ben instead of Derek James, and staying with Ben up till now, till Wilder fighting onwards, chopping and changing trainers. Just as the years go on, and I'm going to use Ben for one, then I'm going to go back to Derek James. It's a dangerous move, mate, especially with the importance of the fights they've got on their hands. I think it's a stupid move that Wilder's fighting Joseph Parker and he's fighting Wayland. It's two bad banana skins right there. They should have just waited and fought each other. But that's my opinion.
What do you make of Ben as a choice for AJ? Obviously, people have highlighted what they think he needs to do, what he doesn't need to do. Obviously, Ben has his own style of training. Obviously, you've got the experience because you've had Josh Taylor who's come from Ben to you. What do you think Ben could offer him as a fighter compared to what he's had with Derek? As you're thinking, I asked Shane McGuigan this question, and I think he said something about AJ just needs to keep it simple, not overcomplicate things. That's what he said, Shane.
I think, yeah. Well, regarding Ben, as I've just stated, he's very familiar with the kid, with Otto Whalen. So there's a plus right there. He's an experienced coach. He's been in a lot of big fights himself. So there's another box ticked. Ben's type of style, a coaching. Is Joshua going to now change? Is that a good move? I don't know. Ben might not want that. You know, he's not a stupid man. He's a clever man. Look, he's gone with. He's got reasons to go on with Ben. They've obviously talked. They've obviously worked together before, or they've had a trial, and Joshua's being happy in what he's seeing, and Ben's being happy with what he can do. So, you know, good luck to them. And you know, regarding Joshua, I think he's really at his best, being physical, strong, implementing himself on his opponents, and not be switched on, but don't overthink what's coming back at you. You know, anyone at that weight can be hurt and dropped and put down. I think he sort of went from being really good, explosive, you know, physical, putting a punch together real well, to trying to be a boxer. He's a boxer, but, you know, trying to be more conservative and stand back and relax a bit more and pace himself. I think he's been mixed minds of really what he is. And sometimes it's just about reminding the fighter what they actually are. Don't change them, don't make them a day. Get the best version out of them oneself. And if Ben can do that, I think, you know, Joshua could be he's a force in the heavyweight division, but he could take over again, you know.
And the last thing I wanted to highlight, you know, because we've seen a lot of experts like yourself, trainers, are all saying that Wallin is a really slippery fight. It's a banana skin, like you said there. But you see from fans are like, oh, why is he fighting Wallin? Why is he not fighting Wilder? And I'll highlight this after. If he does win easily in good fashion, we've got to make sure that it's highlighted, that he took a slippery fight and he won. Do you think he'll get the credit if he wins in devastating fashion?
No, I don't. You know, take away Fury, use Otto Whalen for it, really, and he is a dangerous fighter. He's southpaw. He can punch with the left hand. You know, good amateur, he's got experience, but he isn't the best. Joshua's expected to win, but that can soon turn on its head. And like every fan, as well as a coach, every fan like yourself, we all want to see who's the number one in that division. And, you know, we want Tyson, obviously, come after victories against Deontay. Usyk has beat Joshua. And we wanted to see Tyson Usyk, which is happening. The second in line behind them is Wilder v Joshua. We want who's the best out of them. In hindsight then, if all went to plan, win or lose, what I would have liked is then, you know, Wilder to fight Usyk, Joshua to fight Tyson. What a round robin that is. And that's in an ideal world, but unfortunately we're not in one. And I think they've took in your throw Joseph Parker against Wilder. That's a hard fight for Wilder. I know he's got that home run with the right hand, but Joseph Parker's very slick, he's clever, can punch himself a little bit, very quick, and I think that could end up being an easy fight really if Joseph's concentration levels stay there, and he's got a fantastic coach in Andy Lee, and the heavyweight division could be thrown up in the air, yeah.
Definitely could. I think the last thing from me, thank you for your time again, and I find it interesting speaking to a lot of coaches that are getting a lot of big fighters like yourself, Shane, Ben, you know, there's obviously Dave Caldwell out there as well. I might miss quite a few, but it'd be interesting to see in the next few years, how you guys kind of shape up against each other. Like, do you keep a tally of, like, you know, I'm like 1-0 up against this guy or anything like that? Because surely there's not rivalry, but there's obviously friendly competition. I'd word it as that.
Yeah, no, I don't really see that, to be honest with you. Obviously, if a fighter's got a stuffing egg coach in his corner who's sort of winging it, but, you know, the country's littered with fantastic coaches top to bottom, from, you know, experienced names, the veterans in the sport, as I stated before, you know, your Domingos, you know, say your Adam Booth, Tony Sims, Robert McCracken's, your Joe Gallagher's, you know, up north, Billy Nelson's, even Dave Colwell's long in the tooth, very long in the tooth in the sport, and you know, the Tibbs, Mark Tibbs, the list goes on and on and on and on, down to the the mid-age generation, you know, myself, they're a bit younger than me, but Shane and Jamie Mould, yeah, I don't really think too much because there's coaches that, you know, I'm away sparring all the time. You've got Mark Hurtley, you know, Alex Mafienko, look, the list just goes on. The fantastic coaches out there, and sometimes you're just as good as the fighter you've got in front of you, but you know, every fighter and every coach I respect, even the amateur system, you know, because they're all brilliant. But a bit of competition is good, and I'll be excited to see who's here in 10 years' time. Yeah.
I hope you're still here, Mix. I do enjoy these chats with you, Joe. Appreciate your time as always, and good luck tomorrow. May the best man win.
Thank you. God bless, mate.
Have you ever been stranded on the side of a motorway with a broken down car? Like me, is that something that worries you? That's where motor breakdown insurance comes in. If your vehicle breaks down, a trained professional will be sent out to get you back on the road. Or if this is not possible within the specified time frame, to transport you to your home or to the nearest garage.
Let's go.